With another massive nationwide protest from the grassroots movement called 5051. Utah State Capitol's front steps filled with hundreds of protesters today, speaking out against some of the current administration's policies, including federal cuts, changes to Social Security, and deportations. ABC4's Jensen Kim was there when it wrapped up this afternoon. Jensen, we just had a similar protest like this a couple of weeks ago. How was today different?
We did, Jordan. Well, the slogan for the protest on April 5th was hands off. Protesters demanded the government to keep their hands off our community, our rights, our Social Security. And today, some people came out with the same hands off signs. But one thing that was different about today was that a more diverse set of voices came to join this growing resistance. Take a look. Loud chants once again boomed across the front steps of the Utah State Capitol as another protest by the 5051 movement unfolded this afternoon. 5051 has been actively staging protests against the current administration. And here in Utah, this resistance snowballed into a movement that became more inclusive. Today, Utahns from all walks of life use this protest as a platform to magnify marginalized voices.
5051 called me and I set up an interview with me and we talked, but they were concerned about Indigenous voices and people of diverse people raising their voices, which is what needs to happen. So
they're creating laws that are actually going to hurt a lot of disabled people.
When I first started getting involved with some of the activism, it was more partisan and more related to the LGBTQ community because that's what I'm a part of. But it's beyond that now. It's not a left or a right issue. It is democracy.
State police said that at the peak of the protest, around 2,500 people rallied in front of the Utah State Capitol today. The protest was scheduled to end around 4 p.m., but went on an hour longer as the vigorous protesters continued with their chants and speeches. And even in Provo this afternoon, other grassroots organizers also had protests as part of today's nationwide resistance. And they told us that they drew a crowd of around 700 people. Protesters wrapped up today by saying that they're going to persist until their demands are heard. Back to you, Jordan.